Hello, hi, I'm Catherine, the creator of Shia and the Jetsons Community Preservation of the Promised Land. I wanted to make the part three of the video about the crop circles. Uh, so, the crop circles and why. Also, go on to my. Ooh, thank you so much for people that who went onto my Patreon. That's what I was trying to. I was gonna say thank you for going on my Patreon. That's still part of donations. So thank you. It's still donations because if you go on my Patreon channel, then you can see all the videos that I can't show on YouTube. But I wanted to show this because I'm sure I can show this. I don't own any copyrights to this video. I don't own anything. Oh, no video. I just want to show this for educational purposes. But this is part three of the crop circles and why 7 billion people on the Georgia Guidestones have to go bye bye. Now there's a woman named Gina, Gina Marie Hill. She asked the question. She asked the question, "What have we done to you to for our people to die in this way, or not die in this way, but for all of humanity to die?" And I'm here to say that all humanity is not dying. Just uh, you know, your people is and the Gentiles and the heathens. The people who are not indigenous. If a person is not was not indigenous to this world prior to 1619, if it's not indigenous to the land prior to 1619, then uh, and you keep uh, bringing genocide upon a people for 400 years, and then you keep want to continue to do it because after we even asked for reparations, you still your people still have not gave up on you have not announced reparations no matter what. So now the universe and already understands that real reparations is, your people's, death. I don't like to say it that way because it sounds kind of, mean, but I'm just, anyway, so, anyways, but, and I already broke it down on where they're saying it. Here it is. Here's the video where they're explaining it to you right here, that this is why the Georgia Guidestones, is happening, or this is why the Georgia Guidestones is carved in stone. It's not on paper. You know, this is real. They're serious. Who's serious? It's the universe. It's people that live in the universe. When they said it here that when you dropped the bomb on Hiroshima, that's what did it. You should have never did that. See, when you drop Big Boy on Asia, then that's when your people started getting abducted in the 1930s. The 1930s, you started getting abducted to take the best of your guys' DNA to make a clone of you to replace your people. So that's why when you ask the question, well, why does all of humanity have to go? No, not 500 million, not 500 million, because on the Georgia Guidestones it's carved in stone, and it says that 500 million must remain, and that's nature. What's nature? Sun, moon, and stars, plant life, and black people. That's what's nature. I mean, if there was no black people, there would be no sun because we came out of the sun. Planet Sirius is behind the sun. So we came from planet Sirius, and in order for us to get to here, you have to go through the sun, which is another, it's a dimension to get through here. And so that's how we came through, in a spaceship in style, actually, 40,000 years ago. It's in the Book of Encounters. Book of Encounters. My other videos, I've always showed Book of Encounters, but here.
Primarily in underground facilities where they are trying to re-engineer it and achieve, well, weapons and what have you. And I went to...
Okay, he's saying that these are UFO researchers for all till they were children because they have UFO experiences, so they had to speak about what happened to them and how they were traumatized. Well, these are people in government officials. These are senators. That was just a senator that was just talking, who was retired or whatever. But anyway, these are people who are UFO researchers, and reporters and things like that, and doctors, hypnosis therapists who have interviewed thousands and thousands of people who were experiencers and abductors, who were abducted, and who knows who's who and who's back engineering the UFOs and everything.
This place called Nordhausen, which was a vast underground base where they still had some of the U-2 engines, and the Russians had just put some rocks in there and left it where you could see the technology from Petamunda and the V2, the V3, the V4, and I believe that technology moved so fast, I almost believe there might have been some help from some other people not of our world.
There's been a lot of talk about maybe mixed human alien partnerships working in some of these underground bases, such as the one that is reportedly at Dulce, New Mexico. That is in my file. I go, huh. Okay. I've heard enough to suggest that there may be something to all that, and yet I've not seen hard enough evidence to just say conclusively, yes, that exists and that's happening.
That's one of those areas where we do not have 100% certainty. We have a lot of evidence and a lot of some first-hand, second-hand testimony that implies underground facilities. But we know that they have that. They built underground facilities as part of the Cold War.
We actually drove up to the Dulce base to get some establishing shots up there. So we started driving up toward the Archuleta Mesa, which is where the base is. We were being followed, and we all became a little bit unsettled and a little concerned that we were getting ourselves into something that could get us into trouble. So we got out of there.
The question is, do we have underground facilities devoted to the extraterrestrial question? And there is evidence for that. The issue of the relationship between extraterrestrials and technology, terrestrial technology, is a very interesting, complex issue. It became a significant matter when Colonel Philip Corso wrote his book, The Day After Roswell, where he stated matter-of-factly that he was in charge under General Trudeau at the Foreign Technology Desk in trying to sprinkle some of the ideas obtained from examining the Roswell craft.
If we've recovered alien craft and we've back-engineered technology, then we really don't want to put it out that we have this and that we know about it. And sadly, that's a detriment to the advancement of collective human civilization.
Which is to say that if, in fact, the United States government has mastered the ability to tap into ground state fields and is sequestering that technology, it is criminal, because the availability of that technology would transform this planet, save hundreds of millions of lives, and solve a great deal of...
That's the blue plasma I was showing you about.
Which is to say that if, in fact, the United States government has mastered the ability to tap into ground state fields and is sequestering that technology, it is criminal, because the availability of that technology would transform this planet.
See, the blue beam I was telling you about. Well, the blue plasma I was telling you about, where that blue plasma in there can make you fly, not just your vehicle. That's what I'm saying. Like, this is what I was talking about. And so, this is what I guess I was trying to explain this to my teacher when she had asked me to teach when she asked me that question when I was in the, I guess second grade, and I was 8 or something, which I was explaining this, and this is probably what got me put into another school. But anyway, so I was explaining this right here where I made it, and I patented it. So I patented it, and yes, it's patent. And so that it's the Jetsons that it goes with the ley lines, and it goes with the ley lines with it, with this. So anyway, and then a lot of other things too. But anyway, that's just the main part of it. So when we talk about the UFOs, we're talking about just people coming up with just like ideas that already exist, but it's just suppressed or people don't want you to know it, and you should already know.
Save hundreds of millions of lives, and solve a great deal of our most difficult problems. And so every day that the truth embargo continues and that technology is sequestered, people are dying because of it. So in their attitude is, well, yeah, now some people are going to die, but we still want another 20 years of secrecy. Well, tell that to the people that are suffering. And we know too much now. It's too much out in the open. So now the blood is on their hands. We are paying a fortune for energy. People are dying because they can't afford water, food. We're polluting the environment, killing people with cancer. And they are sitting on transformative energy that might be 1 cent on the dollar. Plus, we have evidence that we have in fact reverse engineered inequality propulsion, and we have our own saucers.
Ooh.
If we get a better understanding of the nature of reality, I believe that what today has no scientific
did you see that
explanation
saucer?
at all
Hold
is going
on.
to be accepted as a scientific norm.
They was working on that. I don't like that. That was loud. It's that boom. But look at, did you see that? Did you see the saucer though? They was working on it. Let me pause that for a minute. Hold on, let me see something real quick. Okay. See, it's working on this like a prototype. Oops. This is huge. So this is like in the warehouse. I just wanted you guys to pause that to see it. Look at that, how they got the fiberglass around it. Is it fiberglass around it? It looks like some fiberglass. This can't be fiberglass because this is misty around here. So it's mist coming off of this. This is some mist. This is like a cooling system or something. No, I don't know. That's crazy. But this is old because you don't need this to make it. This all this that you have all that propulsion system come out here. You don't need that. You need the anyway. I already patented it, so you know. Anyway, so here.
What today has no scientific explanation at all is going to be accepted as a scientific norm in the future. And when that happens, it's going to change the face of civilization on every level.
So for decades, we have had anagravitic propulsion, but it is not known or available to the public because to do so would result in ending the truth embargo, and therefore it must remain sequestered. The most important question of all regarding the ET technology is, have we mastered and even reverse engineered the energy system?
Oh, he was saying that's what the guy was saying was that when Gina asked the question, oh, well, how come, why are you killing all of humanity? It's like, no, we're not. The people who are suppressing it have to go, and it happens just to be your people. So it's like, what I'm saying? Like, it happens to be the Caucasian race that's suppressing the energy that we need. We need to evolve, and we're being suppressed, and that can't happen anymore because there's a time limit. You can't suppress the information forever. So 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 when you say, oh, well, just a few is suppressing it, no, it's the fact that you see your husband is in the military. He don't have to be in the military. He could be something completely different. You don't have to be in the government, but you people choose to be in the government. That's how you have that house that you have. I'm saying you have that house that you have because your husband is in deep in the military. And so what does he do in the military? He's probably in somebody else's business. See, that's the thing. You can't just you can, of course, that's a wonderful question that you ask, and you should ask that question so that you should understand and know that you went to school when you were a little child and you grew up and you learned that it was a big huge lie, but you learned that 12 million Africans were forced to come over here and be slaves. What, after 400 years? You mean still? See? So if it has to end, then the people that suppressed us would have to be well, not necessarily remove, but they would have to allow us to separate from them and live our own lives. If not, then they have to die.
Drives those craft. We're pretty sure it's not oil, gas, or coal. In fact, our own physics points to the likelihood that they have finally figured out how to tap into the ground state fields. If they have done that, it is a paradigm shift of such magnitude it's almost impossible to describe.
What if they cure cancer? What if they help us clean away pollution and help these children with respiratory problems and water problems and help us make this the paradise that we had when we got this planet?
We've been using that wreckage to reverse engineer this technology. I believe we have a technology right now.
But okay, see the technology. See that's the thing. Who created the cancers though? When he said, well, how come they don't help cure cancer? Who created cancer? Fauci. Fauci did it in 1980. In 1980. Uh, I broke that down in my video. You have to look at my video. But anyway, you got to look at that. And so just see that. So, um, and that's that. But anyway, but you have to understand like who's creating all the sicknesses. You just got to look at the pharmaceutical and all that stuff. You got to look at all of these things, and then you just put two and two together, and then you don't say, oh, it's just one or two people doing it. It's like, no, your people is working for it. You're working for this. Well, how am I gonna get paid, and how am I gonna put the food on my table? Well, see, that's the thing. We all have choices, and then you say, well, we don't have a choice. We have to work at this job. It's like, no, you don't. Nobody's physically putting a gun to your head and making you work at that job. That's making you be a farming. You know what I mean? You know what I mean, to work in that company type thing, in the government company. So nobody's making you do that. You're doing that on your own. So that's on you. You're not being forced. Well, I've been working there for 25 years. Yeah, well, see, 25 years doing what? Something that you were never supposed to do. Well, see, that's the thing. What are they supposed to do if they grew up like this? And like, it's like as if, how you would never think that Alex Jones is like racist. But and maybe he is, because he was. Well, he is. He's always have been. But what I'm saying is that he kind of grew out of it now. He grew out of it now, right? So he's not anymore. But what I'm saying is that we had, by you living with us for so long, we had to teach you what humility is, to where now you just now realizing that you guys messed up and you were never supposed to take us over. And so when you did that, now it's too late. Now that you realize that, now it's too late. Is what I'm trying to say. You see, it's too late. So now you have, and on top of that, you have this technology that you don't even want out. You don't want it, us to have these. And we supposed to be having vehicles. We supposed to be flying. We supposed to be having flying vehicles. We're not supposed to be really driving on the road like that, having car accidents, or even having fuels to get, these fumes that make us sick in the air, these gas fumes and stuff. We're not supposed to be. But see, that's and then see, Gina, you ask the question, well, what did we do to deserve it? All of this shit I just mentioned. You people create all this, and then you say it's just a few. No, it's not. It's gas stations. That's gas stations. Who created gas stations? You people. Who created all of this? Who created us being forced to be paying rent? Who created the indigenous people to be forced to be paying rent? Indigenous people are forced to be paying rent on their own land. Who created that? Your people, Gina. I'm just saying. I don't like to say your name, but I'm like people. I like to say people like you who think like you. I'm not just naming you per se because you asked the question, but it's like people who agree with you. You people have to understand that we have been here before you, and when you came here not knowing that This world is a black world. This is a black universe. Somebody created you. So this is not your world. So it's not that we're locked in here with you. You locked in here with me. You're locked in here with us. You know what I'm saying? This is our world. You locked in here in our world. So if this is our world and we as black people have to be taught a lesson for karma reasons, we're still gonna remain. And that means whoever is on here that's not supposed to be on here gotta go bye bye. That's 7 billion. You see what I'm saying? That this is why you asked the question. Well, why us? Well, why you guys? Right? That's why, because somebody else created you other than us. We didn't do it. We didn't create you. So whoever created you, you have to go back to your creator. Our creator put us here 40,000 years ago. It's in the book of the encounters. The book of the encounters. Um, one of these people here actually, not really co-authored, but anyway, the book of encounters. You have to look at my other video. To all of you guys that are not familiar with, the UFO, of what's going on, but it's all set up for black people to be taught a lesson on what not to do, how do it feel to be a human, what it feels, because we lived in other primal worlds other than this, just like Bobby Hemmett said. So if we lived in other primal worlds, we did sometimes we didn't have a body, and we were, in our spirit form, and we had magic and all this stuff. Well, now we're in a body. Now we know what it feels like to get messed up by the parasitic people, and they were here for a totally different reason than us. They were here to learn to live in heaven, to learn what it feels like to rule, or actually not to rule over gods, but to say, what would you do if you had that ability to rule over gods? Not saying that you had, because we all have free will. You didn't have to do what you did, but your people didn't have to do what they did, but they did, and that's why your people is being heavily influenced in taking the boom boom, because you know what I'm saying. That's why 70% of the black people did not take it, and and the majority of your people did, and that's what's making you guys upset. That's why you keep saying, on the 70% didn't take it. Okay, don't worry about it, but because 70% of yours did, so now you guys are upset about it. Now you're saying, oh well, what did we do? What did you do to deserve it? I just explained it to you.
This, the paradise that
He's explaining it to you.
we had when we got this planet.
We've been using that wreckage to reverse engineer this technology. I believe we have a technology right now that's far beyond what the public even knows about.
Now, it's an interesting point. Given that we have the ability in a device smaller than a laptop to
Introducing the all-new flawless browse, the instant, painless precision.
store the entire Library of Congress, every book in it, and more. The idea that extraterrestrials may have storage ability to have enormous archives regarding this planet, in which case we might have the opportunity at some future time to directly research our ancient history with visual records.
Look at all the historical events that we don't have eyewitness testimony from, whether it's Moses.
Oh well, I mean, they said the historical records. The gray alien, this person here, these white people here, all white people, they became the gray aliens. The gray aliens is the white race. That's the white people here became the gray aliens in our future. That's what they became. So we're, like I said before, we're not in our present time. We live in our present. I mean, we're living in our past. We came here in our past deliberately to fix what went wrong in our future, right? So in a billion years from now or whatever, not even, but they become the gray aliens with the big bulbous head and all that, because because the nuclear war happened. It happened in our lifetime, like right probably next year. Because remember now, Russia and Putin and them, and they man, they finna bomb. And so when that happens, they went underground. And when they went underground, imagine if you stayed underground for like 2 million years, you would become short, shriveled, and gray with a bulbous head, with big bulbous eyes, and you would be really smart because there's no sunlight down there, and you would be gray because there's no sunlight, you know. And well, you white people would adapt anyway because they don't like this. They don't the sunlight don't like them anyway, so that's why they could adapt in the underground, and that's what they did. Most of them went underground. When we went in the spaceships, up in the spaceships, they went under. Most of them went underground. Not most, but that's why it's not really too many gray aliens. Like, well, of course, there's a lot of gray aliens, but I'm just saying, a lot of them were made. They were made, and they were these are sentient beings or whatever. But what I'm saying is that if they're talking about or organic gray alien, they're talking about a white person in the future.
In the Red Sea or whatever. So there are all kinds of possibilities.
I'm Kathleen Martin. Betty and Barney Hill were my aunt and uncle. They are the first Americans whose story went public about a UFO abduction that occurred in 1961. Betty and Barney stated that they felt that the ETs wanted to know the difference between